Yeah, cool. So we have seen the expressions, case statement, and the casting, type casting inside the CDS element. So how they gonna look like now? Let us go ahead and see some of the SQL functions. We have seen uh, some of the predefined functions as well, such as string functions, concatenation, and date functions. They all available in the they all available in the CDSU for us. Mm, when doing something. Yep. So if you see, this is the one which we have created yesterday using some of the date functions, string concatenation functions, and also the casting in case of using preserving type, and the simple and nested case statement along with the casting here if it has most multiple types involved in this one, and also arithmetic operators what we have here. So now let us see a little small database function which is available, a predefined function in the CDS itself, which is currency converter, to which I was saying um, since the beginning. We have currency conversion here. So if you see currency conversion as a function available here, so I just press Control space again. Come on. And Shift Enter. We see all the list of parameters on this one. So this is where we will be ending up with some casting, type casting. These are all the parameters. So amount, what is the amount we are trying to convert? Source currency, what is the source currency? I mean, the local currency in this sense, and what is the target currency here? What is going to be the foreign currency? And as we know, there are different exchange rate types here. So exchange rate type we mentioned, it can be a fixed value as well. Doesn't matter. And after calling this function, we should always um, uh, do not forget to give an alias name to this, because this is a calculation what we are doing here. So after calculation or case statement, whatever after the expression, we must provide an alias name for each case. So let me provide an alias name here. But before that, I would like to see the data and uh, get some. Um,
Is nothing but expression result name, right?
yes, it's going to be your field name. Once you start using this CDSU, this is the field name you will be referring. Yeah. So what is the currency we have here is, let me look at it. And also not sure, if the current exchange rates are maintained in this system. If not, then I think we may not be able to use it. But also parallelly, let me go into the system here. Mm, so SC16, let me execute it, and timestamp, everything is blank here. But also AI. So net value and the currency, I think all of them are blank here in this case. So let me put some values against each of them. Um, so basically, if we are ready with our app, then we will be getting this amount based on our config table, and we will be calculating them. But for now, let me populate some of the values. I'll just change some of the currencies. This is INR, and okay. And up to here, USD. Okay, fine. So I'll just stop it here. So now let me go to my CDS here, and let me see trip items. Mm, total expense, yes. We see some values coming across here. The same different currencies and values. That's good. And now, what we will do here, and before applying our currency conversion, I think right now we are on our header and association. So association to trip items. But what I do, if we want to use this association here, that's fine. We can use, but in that case, we will be making the CDSU performance lower. But in this case, I would like to move this currency conversion into the items. Okay, so let me go to items here, and in the items, let me write down the currency conversion, so that we have the currency conversion available at the items level. So amount INR. Let's say, let's name this one amount INR, amount in INR. And here, if you see, these are the field names which we need to export. This amount is not a field name in our CDS element here. So the equivalent name here, total expenses. So let's take this total expenses here. So this total expense, if you see in this case, this is going to be an external call. I mean, this is going to be directly performed on the database. So when we are using any of these alias names, so in this case, we must use projection here. So projection dot total expenses. You see, and similarly, the source currency, we use this currency as source currency, which is the local currency here. Projection dot currency. And target currency, I'll fix this target currency to maybe INR. And the exchange rate type, I would say it's M. So now we see some error here. Let's see what it is. Type char of parameter, target currency not supported, currency key. If you see, the target currency type char is not supported. That's what it says. But in this case, what we can do, the INR will be some WAERS, yeah, WAERS type. So we can convert this using cast INR as WAERS. That is the data element type here. So still we have some error. And this one again, exchange rate date. Where is, oh sorry, so it's not exchange rate type, it's exchange rate date. So in this exchange rate date, we can consider today's date. So we have some system variables available in CDS as well, like we have in ABAP. So in ABAP, we use all psi hyphen datum, but here all the variables start with session. So session dot, what is it? Client. So these are all the variables available under our session. So system date, system language, user date, user time zone. So in this case, we can use the system date as exchange rate date. So now what is this? Amount in a reference information missing or data type wrong. See in long text. So in this case, what it is saying, so there is no specific type for this amount, but let's do a cast the entire process, entire conversion itself. So at here, we'll say, what is this one? Not sure what the type it is, but let me go ahead and find out what type it is. The data element, total expenses. So net weight, net net price as as uh, trip items. reference information missing. What is this? Okay, so this reference we are saying it's a price. So for that price, we need to reference some currency in this case. So the currency we are fixing it INR. I think we shouldn't be referencing to this one. So instead, um, we can see the currency semantics dot amount uh, currency code. Yeah, that's fine. So we can do it. We cannot reference the fixed value. We should put the element reference here. Okay. So now we have some cast currency identical type. So this net weight, I think that this is fine. We don't need to worry about that warning. So we will know further what this error exactly. So now we have this ready in our items. So if we execute this one, is it activated? Yes, it's activated. If we execute this one, so we see the converted amount into INR. So if you see wherever INR there is no change, but in case of GBP and etc., so everything has been converted into the respective currency, considering all these figures here. Okay, so likewise, we have the unit conversions as well. Unit conversion. So this result. So the major or some issues what we will be facing at this point is issues with the decimals. So decimal places, and if there are any arithmetic calculations over this currency converted price and etc. So those minor decimal places we might we must need to look at, and for these um, data types, so we can specify our own number of decimals again. So as I have taken a data element here, so if we don't want to miss any of the decimals up to 5 decimals or 10 decimals or whatever after the currency conversion we wanted, so we can exactly take those many decimals and we can perform our calculations further. Okay, and we have similarly the unit conversions as well. So we are not going to specifically implement this function at the moment, but we'll see the uh, function here. So unit conversion. So in this unit conversion, again press Shift Enter. So this is how the parameters. So what is the quantity we are trying to convert, and what is the source unit, and what is the target unit? That's it here. So if we want to convert a PC or ballot or box into each or into pieces or something, whatever the conversion we wanted to do it, then we are free to use this one as well here. So this way the CDS uh, proves that we have all these feasibilities available without using ABAP code, and we can build a straightforward reports from this one from CDS itself. Okay, So there are powerful IDAs available after this CDS use. So IDA uh, integrated data access. So what that means, we the SAP has delivered a set of these IDA classes, whereas we can straight away make use of those classes in our ABAP program, and those IDAs easily access the CDSUs and whatever the column headings or headers, everything. We don't need to implement the ALV functionality even in our ABAP code. So that class simply comes here and pulls the data and displays for the user. Okay, even if we want to do in that way, we don't need to put more effort into our ABAP development as well. So there are more things. We are working on more things parallelly. So please be cautious. Um, the reason I'm just telling is um, we wanted to learn more, because if we are sticking to our content and etc., these are small bits might be uh, left as gaps. So this CDS report yesterday, we have seen how we can access the associations in the ABAP code with a backward slash on the associations and where clauses we can use them. But now our intention is to display a CDSU in the CDSU output in simple way from ABAP program. Let me comment this one out. And the class that we have here as an IDA, it's CEL. Let me write it down for you. Mhm. I think I will need help of this one. CEL um, GUI GUI. Sorry, CLSALV CLSALV GUI table IDA. If you see this class, okay, so this is the class. If you look at this class, we have several methods, whereas we can straight away go ahead and use this class to create an instance based on our CDSU here. So create for CDSU instance. Let me go ahead and do it. So I'm picking this one, uh, just pasting it here and calling this method create for CDSU. And this create for CDSU expects CDSU here. Okay, so let me give my CDSU, define CDSU here, or let me pick up the association one, whereas we have more fields. Yeah, let me activate this. Yes, activated. So this is my CDSU, and it gives me the instance, IDA instance. Okay, so there's exceptions if we are cautious about it, and we can implement or catch those exceptions. And once we get this instance, what we have, the next step is going to be, so we have got this instance, and now we will be calling in the full screen mode. Okay, so this full screen will be called. So if you look at these parameters, we will get the full screen instance of the GUI screen. Okay, so let's call this full screen here, full screen. So this is going to be another instance, full screen. So in the full screen, we will have a display method inside it. So display, that's it, done. 3 steps, ALV report is ready for us. Let me activate it. Maybe type compatibility. Uh, okay, period missing. That's my mistake. Okay, activated. So if you want to see the method here, full screen, so just go ahead, enter into this full screen, and we see the display method here. And whoever we as developing ABAP reports and PF status, everything, we have all those options as well. So let me come back and let me execute this one. So this is the magic happens once we run this report. And interestingly, if you see, all these options are adapted for sorting, filtering, everything. So whatever, if I want to filter on something here uh, based on trip status D, and come on this here, right click itself, we have an option filter D. Okay, and if you want to restrict some value here, we still have an option on this one, and it goes ahead and picks these values. Trip status, let me pick up not equals to. So these all we do not need to implement manually, whereas the ABAP and CDS combination will works out and does it for us. And same everything, whatever. So Excel export, and if we want to change layout on this report, we can straight away go ahead and change our report here, change our layout report. So few of them doesn't have titles here. If you see this 24, not sure what this 24 is. Okay, so wherever we don't have we don't have header labels there, we can straight away go ahead and implement our end user text label. So let's go ahead and do some text label here. So is international travel, is international travel, and also let's put some uh, values here. The same will be replicated or reflected on a BAP report. Okay, technical field or indicator, whatever you want to say. So just activate it. Done. Activated. Go back and just execute it again. And here we go. We see all the labels is international travel, technical field, or whatever. So the field labels even are reflected here. So as we discussed, the translation for this one is completely observable using the C63 transaction code. So if we need to perform any translations as well, there is also no issue for us. So now we know the way how we can simplify our ABAP report as well. But this is not the reality how we get the ABAP report requirements, business requirements. Obviously, there will be selection parameters and selections in variables like ranges and etc. So in the same class, whatever we have seen, we have all those feasibilities provided in this one. So even going one step forward, and we have even feasibility to add additional authorization check as well. So just have a look on this utility or IDA class available for this one. So we will not be going at each method how we build a ABAP based report using all these selection parameters. I will leave it with you, and even if you see the field catalog, everything available here. So set select options. So this is the option where it sets the select option based on the screen parameters what we define on the ABAP program. Okay, so it's pretty clean and simple. Now I think there is another class as well to prepare or simplify the screen parameters. I mean the into the CDS parameters. Uh, Let me recall that one. What is this? IDA condition. Maybe this one. I think. Okay. Anyway, so I list down in the notepads. Don't worry about it. So moving forward, let me get some what is in my list next. Okay, that's good. So we have some aggregation functions listed down. So the aggregation functions, as we all know about those aggregation functions, what all we can uh, implement using our OpenSQL as well. So we have count, minimum, maximum, and things like that. Um, okay. So now the same thing we will be doing here as well. So in this way of structuring our CDS views, how we structure our CDS view means, now in this case our items, we know that only the unique identifier is items, because this is the new number range we have created, and we have the uniqueness on this particular trip item. But if we want to get the total expenses of this trip, obviously we should consolidate or sum the amounts based on our trip ID here, not on the trip item. So if we um, make the aggregations on our trip item, then definitely we are not going to get it. But the aggregations all must happen on our trip ID. So if I go ahead into the data preview, And if you see, we have trip ID here, and in this particular trip 002, we have two items on this one. So GB2FR and FR2IN, and we need to calculate the value of both legs into the trip ID, and we should represent into the header part of it. So in this case, if we see, we have different amounts, 10,000 and 10,000 INR, and same we need to represent on our trip header. So in this case, if we go with our approach of doing an association here, so with this association we already have it adding the items as well. What it does, it doesn't give us the exact result, um, that only one header and one item, but it adds all the items exist in this particular association. Okay, it's simply like the left outer join, and it keeps the header data repeated and adds the right side data, which is the item data. But that's not how we want it right now. We need some key figures, the aggregated figures, added onto our header trip ID. So in these cases, we will end up creating another CDS view on top of our items basic item CDS view, CDS view. So now I'm going to do the same. So let me pick up this one, and where is it in my list? Okay, so I'm going to create another new data definition based on this one. So here I would say Z I trip aggregates. Trip aggregates, and I will just give, no, I don't want to give the reference. I don't want to use all the fields. So let me go ahead, and this time I'm choosing define view entity. That's fine. So I'm not going to use any of the associations in this case. So here I'm using my trip items. Okay. So I'm going to use key field. So in this case, my key field is going to be trip ID. I'm not using my trip item as a key field. I'm going to use trip ID as my key field. So let me use my trip ID as key field. That's fine. And now I'm going to specify some here. So this is the aggregation what I wanted. I wanted to sum up all these total expenses on my trip items. So here I'll say total expense. In this case, logically thinking, this is going to be my wrong figure, because we will not be having a single currency here. So effectively, it will be the amount in INR will give us the right figure. Okay, because this is the converted amount. When we represent the amount or aggregated amount, then this is going to be a single line for entire trip ID, and that is going to be represented on my header. Okay, so as total expense INR. So in this case, that's fine. So trip ID and a simple sum has been added here, and What is this error group by class is missing? Obviously, whenever we use aggregate functions, we must specify a group by class here, trip id. Trip id, based on trip id, give my uh, give my sum, the total expense value here. So as we know, this total expense INR is going to be the reference field here. So we do not have the currency field available in this view. So we can do we can create a currency field here. So INR, we can fix the value as currency key. And now we can write our semantics here, dot amount dot currency code is going to be my currency key here. So in this case, still, what is this? Currency key has a wrong data type. You see, the errors all are going to be meaningful. Sometimes we get the wrong or not understandable messages as well. But in this case, I would like to cast this one as currency type. So gone. So this is going to be my currency key and the reference field has been assigned. Now I have the total sum of each trip in this CDS view. So if I execute this one, I will have trip ID and corresponding total expense value in INR. So if you see, everything has been summed up nicely. So now I go to my, let me copy this one. And here I just go to my association here. Now I'll write or I'll create another association here. So in this case, this is going to be my one-to-one association. It's not going to be one-to-many. As we know, there will be only one match to the trip ID in that particular CDS view. So underscore aggregates. So now let me use my dollar projection on dollar projection dot trip ID, trip identifier. We have named it as trip identifier equals to underscore aggregates dot trip ID. If you see, so we have included our trip ID here. That's fine, fantastic. So now we are intending to add this value in our CDSU here. So let us add this value here, dot, what is it? The total expense in INR. If we like to leave it as it is without an alias name, that's fine. Whatever the alias name it has in its association, that's gonna be displayed as it is. Okay, and if we want to change the label on this one, we are free to change the label on this end user text. So obviously, whatever the calculated field we add in our CDSU, they are not going to be having any of the labels, because They don't associate it. They are not associated to any data element. If we use any data element, specific data element, then they are going to be displayed with the data element labels here. Okay, but here I'll say total expense in INR. So again, it's the same story. It will need the currency key in this view again. So I'll just add the currency key here again from my aggregation. So currency key, I add it, and here I'll just add my semantics again. Dot amount dot currency code is my currency key that I populated here. Okay, so all fine, perfect. So let me activate this one. So good. So it's activated. So if you could easily observe that in this case, when we added our association fields, there was a warning that it may influence the cardinality of your header, because that is 0 to star cardinality. But in this case, whereas we are matching this to 1-to-1 cardinality, then there will not be warning as well if we add the fields from association. Okay, so let me comment out that one. So these all simple minor things may end up in uh, big doubts kind of, but if you start working on it, then it will be a bit easy to understand and easy to clarify as well. So if you see here, with the total expense INR and the currency has been added wherever there is an entry found in that particular items table. So if there is no item, there is no entry in the item, they are left blank here in the currency key. Okay, so similarly, the aggregation functions, basically we 90% we might be ending in a situation to create new CDSUs and add them onto the root or parent or main CDSUs for these aggregations. So during these aggregations, again, we might end up creating some CDSUs as well. Sorry, not CDSUs, the AMDP procedures. So we will see those AMDP procedures soon. So now at this place, whatever the CDSU we created for aggregations, so the aggregation functions available in CDSU are like we have seen some, and there is minimum, max, count of star, count of distinct or field name. Okay, and also we have average function available. Okay, whatever the aggregation function we want, so we can use all of these ones, and we can use in the combination as well. So for example, I wanted to know the count of how many line items are there in this particular trip. I can add this one and total items. Sorry. So total items. So it will tell me how many total line items available in this particular trip ID. Okay. So if I execute this one, it gives us the count as well as how many trip items available in this particular one. So whereas this helps us, it doesn't mean we only need to use one field as an aggregation field, but it is according to our business requirement how we deal with it. So if the business requirement says, okay, you display the value and also the legs of each, the number of legs of that particular trip. So in this case, we have an option uh, uh, to simplify it. Okay, so that is about the aggregations, and there are moving to next topic of joins. So um, the joins, we have already seen the inner join, whereas the inner join gives the results of intersect operation. Whatever is common in the left side and right side data sources, it brings all the intersect results of those data sets or data sources. So left outer join or left join, we already know it, but the differentiation between left outer join and left join is nothing. Both are same. Left join we can write with a left join or left outer join. In a way, the association. If you face any question about these associations, so these associations effectively they are left joins. So they all add the entries of their left data source, and if there is any match to the right data source, then they add. Otherwise, they just keep quiet. It'll be null in this case. Okay. So right outer join is again same. So all the rows from right side will be repeated, and left side, if there is any entry, they just keep adding the left side of information, left side of the data source information. But interestingly, there is another join. It's a full join. So even that can be utilized. So as we were working on ABAP, we might not find a way or chance to look at these joins, but as we are now open to all kinds of SQLs. So if we come to CDS, we will be writing some kind of SQL statements. If we move to ABAP, we'll be writing some kind of SQL, and also we have feasibility to directly enter into database and write some native SQL queries, whereas unlimited. So most powerful and native SQL queries, whereas we can use the full joins, all these kinds of joins. So full join represents the no common entries. So there is no entry commonly in both the tables. Okay. For example, if we take our trip ID example, so the trip IDs in header table does not exist in items table, and vice versa. So some of the trip items specified in items tables, those or does not exist in header table. So we may get such kind of situations when we don't build the foreign key relationships. So if we have foreign key relationships, obviously this situation will never happen. But in any of the situation, if we wanted to pull these kind of records, then obviously we have an option with the full join. Okay. So if you want me to write a full join, I can straight away go ahead and write a full join. Full join, just go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. So again, I'm going with the view entity. Now I would like to write on base of trip header. This is the table trip header base. Okay. So now let me write the join here. Okay, sorry. This full join will be um, using left join and right join. Okay, that's fine. We'll see this full join in the native SQL where we implement the AMDP. There it will be more easier than this one. So for now, we just know about these uh, advantage of these joins. So we have freedom of implementing all these kinds of joins. And also another uh, additional feature of this one is union and union all. So if we want to combine any of the two data sets having the same structure, if we want to combine them, we have union option available here. So union, it will be um, combining two data sets, keeping only one key field without duplicates, I would say. And union all will even allow the duplicates and collect all the information without missing anything. Okay, so those two things and the joins. So we have reached to um, create another type of CDS views. So let me ignore this part at the moment. So I'll keep everything as it is for your reference when you go through these packages. Fine. So now let's create a CDS view with parameters. So we have seen the CDS define view entity and define view, and we knew the difference as well, everything. But now we might be having a requirement um, creating CDS views with parameters. So let me go ahead and create a CDS view with parameters. With parameters, fine, go ahead. And now in the template itself, we see some view types with parameters. So in this one, we see define view entity and define view. We have seen this. So define view with join, we know this. How we can create a join and define view with the association. Yes, we can deal with it, and we will be coming to this view with the parent associations, and this define view with parameters. This is the next type of view which we are creating right now. So and also as we decided to go with a define view entity. So you may look for where is define view entity, define view entity with parameters, right? So these are the templates prepared and given us by SAP, but define view entity with parameters is also available. So we can take this template and we can we can edit or modify the template after in our CDSU define view entity. We'll keep with parameters as it is. But if we want if we want it to be available here, yes, we can also do that. But let us go ahead for now and create this view with parameters. So now if we modify this one define view entity, we know that we shouldn't be having this SQL view annotation anymore, right? So we will need to remove this one, that is no more applicable with the define view entity. And this with the parameters, we can take this parameter into or define the name according to our business requirement. So what are the situations or use cases when we end up creating with the parameters? So these with the parameters, mostly when we deal with CDS table functions, which are again the ABAP AMDP, which I would say. So when we are using AMDPs and when we are using table functions, in those situations, we might need to pass few parameters between the SQL procedure and CDS view. In those situations, we need that is one of the use case. That's not the only use case. The another one, basically the analytics. Whenever we look at the analytics point of view, so analytics basically um, built for handling uh, more volume of data. So in those cases, obviously there will be some parameters like I need some analytics for this specific company code, for example. So it's not a good practice to build the complete CDSU without the parameters in terms of analytics or data replication and things like that. Whereas if the BW is sharing the same database, same HANA database, then that is accepted. But in terms of replication using the RFC connections, then they will be sending packages anyway. They will be transmitted in the form of packages. But on top of it, whenever they use this Lumira or Bex reporting, then they will be requesting data based on the parameters. So whenever they use the live modes, there will be two modes of reports, live mode and replication mode. The replication mode data will be replicated every 20 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes based on the frequency set by the business. But live mode, it is perfectly pulling the data on the live. So whenever user requests it, then automatically the request comes. So in those cases, obviously the data will be fetched based on those filters. So to accommodate those filters, we will be having CDSUs with parameters, and these parameters cannot be bypassed. And there are no optional parameters available in CDSUs at the moment. We can't create any optional parameters. But whereas we have some default parameters, that's fine. Even though we will have value in it. So default parameters like a system user and system date. So they are not they are default parameters, and they can be left blank from the consumer. but they will be filled whenever the request reaches to the CDS. Okay, no optional parameters. We can't create any optional parameters. That's the number one. And if at all we want to make any parameters according to our requirement, we can have it. So, and also how these parameters help, they will straight away reduce the volume of data fetched from database. So these parameters effectively they will be used in where conditions. So whenever you use where conditions, the small set of data will be uh, fetched, and these parameters also can be used in um, join conditions and also associations. So if we want to use these parameters, we can use in join and associations as well. Okay, so let me create according to our requirement here. So if I say, if I want to know how many or all the number of requests that are created from country, or we can even specify it as user here. So now the parameters will be created with p underscore from country, I would say it, and here I can say land one. And similarly, if we want to specify any type here and abap dot, we can pick up the type abap type, the predefined uh, abap type here. So now I would write this land one, and I'll go ahead and I'll put another parameter here. So these parameters will be separated by comma, like element separation p underscore let's say user, um, or yeah, name. So in this case, I can use my annotations here. So as I said, I can default the user, and here we will be using environment system fields. Environment system fields. So what is the system field here? User. I'll be using user here. So if you see, we have number of environment variables here. So system date, system language, system time, user date, and they are all very meaningful and easy understandable. So in my case, I decided to use my user. Okay. So another use case I would like to mention here is, if you want to fetch any of the exchange rates based on the date. So obviously there will be a uh, huge number of entries where they will be uploaded into the production system, daily basis or weekly basis, whatever the business um, frequency they have. But in that case, we are not supposed to give the exact not exact all the exchange rate available in the system. So there will be a specific date. So if the user is doing a shopping or ordering something today, then the exchange rate of today should be picked up from the system, or the latest exchange rate from today backwards should be picked up for the shopping cart calculation. So this is the best example to say why we need CDS used with parameters. Okay. So now the data source name. Let me add my trip association data source. Fine. This is the data source. Now I'd like to add all of the parameters available here. That's fine. Add it. And now I'm okay to use this in my where class. So earlier, I think before ABAP release 7.50, there was a syntax to use the parameters from country equals to like colon and then the parameter. But after 7.5 and 7.52, what is this? Oh, view entities, compare filter is not allowed. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so after 7.5, so we are no more suggested or recommended to use this colon here, but instead we use dollar parameters. Dollar parameters dot p from country. Okay, so yeah, this preserve key is also not allowed as we have taken the define view example. We are ending up all these situations. So now we have set we have all set about this parameter view, but now we left out leaving our p user here. We have defined and not used, so that is what this warning is. So if you see not used, and we can make use of it. And oh, what is it? The created by equals to dollar parameters dot p user, or, and let me make it a or condition here, and changed by equals to dollar parameter of p user. Okay, so this is how is going to be the parameter usage. So if you want to include the parameter inside your entity, then also you are free to include your parameter here. But in some cases, it may be stopping as parameter country. So you are free to include your parameters in the entity as well. So some cases, I think using associations inside the element, some cases I have seen the parameters are not allowed to use there, but there is a limitation. Whenever we see a limitation, then we can think of changing our approach to another way of doing. Okay, so now let me activate this one. And also, if we want to include the end user text labels here, so we are free to include the end user text labels here. End user text dot label, and this label is going to be from country. Okay, and now in this case, again, we can add the annotation, end user annotation, created or changed by. So till now we have seen when we execute or uh, execute CDSU or data preview of CDSU. But now we see a little difference. If you execute this one, it's gonna pop up with the parameters. So what are the parameters for the CDSU? Please enter. And if you see here, the P user here is not marked with star because that's a system variable. If you give the username, that's fine. If you don't give the username, then it's gonna take as system user. So from country is marked as star here if you see. So the CDSU cannot be executed without this parameter. So now let me give some value onto it, and P user I'm not going to give anything. So if you see, the system has considered the logged in user. Who is this? Where is this one? Yeah, yep, Tara1 as the user and picked up all the entries for me. And if I want to change my parameters, I do not need to close this one and go back and run. And here if you see, before SQL console there is parameter, and it brings back the pop-up with the old values what we have given here. So in this case, if I want to change the username, I can change the username and I can execute it. And says there are no entries with this particular user in the database. It's not bringing anything. And so if I say 12, even with 12, no entries. And 2, yes, there are few entries with Tara 2 user and it's free. Okay, that's fine. This is not the user interface where we will be provisioning or giving access to the users, right? So how I can make use of this CDSU in my another CDSU? That is something interesting. Okay, so now let me go ahead and uh, create another CDSU, and the same CDSU can be utilized in ABAP program as well. Okay, so the ABAP program also needs to facilitate a way how we can pass these parameters into the CDSU. So it's a pretty simple how we utilize this in our CDSU. It's going to be the same way of writing select query, and right after the CDSU will just open a parenthesis and we put the parameter value and equals to, then we put a colon here to input our local variable, ABAP local variable, for example, LV country, like this, and we just uh, make the call, and I mean the select query, and it brings back the data. So similarly, in the CDSU also, we will be doing same. So we will just write a CDSU, and wherever it needs to be used, and we can straight away go ahead and where is it? Mm, yeah, if okay, the parameter value we cannot pass it. Which value we can pass? This also needs to have a parameter. I don't want to disturb that one. Mm, yeah. Um, yeah, the thing I'm thinking, So here we have created the from country as parameter. But if we want to use this one here in place of uh, associations or joins, then obviously we need to have parameter for this one as well. Okay, but I do not want to uh, disturb this one. Rather, I would like to have an association here. Okay, let me try to write association to. It's going to be one trip identifier. It's going to be one cardinality. So 1 to 1, 2. So this is CDS with parameters. Let me go ahead and on dollar projection dot trip ID equals to underscore params dot trip identifier. So this is what the association. But if you see, we haven't given any parameters at the moment. So let me go ahead and publish or what the warning it is showing is. So the annotation, sorry, association has not been used. That was the one. Let me activate it. It's going to behave something bit different. So let me execute this one. So right click, follow association. So if you see, cannot preview data as the association contains parameters. Data preview does not support CDS view with the parameters. So we have not specified any parameters on this one, how it needs to move forward, right? So we have given or we have written, we have defined an association, that's fine. But we have not said to this what is the parameter for this to move forward. So in this case, what we can do, so we can open a square bracket here, and in this case again we can put the cardinality of it and um, parameters as this. So it may not behave as expected. Let me try. So what is its parameter is PF country. Projection dot from country. So my guess was correct, I think. Nope. Yeah. So it needs a parameter. So usually how it behaves will be, if you write it here, yeah. Uh, this was before 7.50. Association here, association. Um, nope. Not this one. Uh, okay. So rather spending time on it, I will prepare an example for this, and I'll let you know for this. So definitely, if we want to make use of this here, we need to have parameters here, but there is a way adding at entity level. I will place it here. Okay. So in this case, we have understood that optional parameters are not possible on this CDS views with parameters. And the another important parameter is going to be the client parameter. So this client parameter we would be needing when we communicate with the AMDP procedure or table function. So we will work on that uh, later. So now, okay, fine. So we have created the CDS view with parameters. Now let's look at some setting here. CDS view with parameters, or yeah, CDS view entity with parameters. So as I said, we can create our own template. So this is local to the Eclipse. This doesn't affect across the system. And if you go to Window and Preferences, in here, ABAP development, expand this ABAP development, and where is this one? Editor, source code. Let me maximize this one. Come on. In a source code, we have where is this? ABAP. There are ABAP templates, CDS. Expand the CDS. Code completion. HANA DDL source file editor. Okay, this is for HANA CDS. Come on. Data definitions. So source code, data definition templates. If you see here, projection view, whatever we have seen in our uh, CDS view creation, we have all these templates listed down here. Define view entity, uh, define define view with parameters. Where is that one? Define view with parameters and etc. So the same one here, we can add our own templates to minimize recreating the templates and etc. So if you want to do that, you can create new here, and in the new you can specify the name. So define view entity with parameters, and the context is going to be data definition. It's not going to be any of these extensions. Yes, data definition. And description, let's put the same with view entity with parameters, and let's paste our template whatever we wanted to create. So now if you look at the templates, they are having some parameters inside it. So those parameters have to be same, so that they will be uh, they will be inserting uh, in our CDSU once we start creating it. So in this one, if you look at this description, okay, so I could have copied this one, but I just wanted to make you understand this insert variables here. So these insert variables, we have an option to insert all these variables by clicking this one. So if the parameter or variables not listed in this template, then we may be thinking, okay, it may not be possible or something like that. So these are all the runtime variables available for us to use if we want to uh, create our own templates, okay, in the Eclipse while uh, creating our CDSUs. So for example, this time at this place, end user text label, we need the a description here. So DDL source description, that's fine. So if we want any additional text along with this, we can keep it. Otherwise, we can remove that complete text. So at this place, we will have the DDL source name as a parameter. You see, so DDL source name here. Okay, let's put this DDL source name. Let's remove this one, and what else we have? This end user text. Again, we can put DDL source description here. Okay, and now the parameter name. Where is the parameter name? Entity name, DDL source name. No parameter name. Okay, that's fine. So if nothing found here, we can straight away write our name here. So runtime is gonna consider, okay, this is fine, and the type name. So let me name it type name and end user text. So we can remove this one. This is not required for us. The template, and this one is going to be DDL source name editable. define view DDL source name. That's fine. And here data source elements. That's fine. So click on OK. Now we can see our own template here. Okay, define view entity with parameters. So like this, if you feel you are using more commonly any other type of template, then straight away that can go here. So apply it and apply and close. So if I go ahead and try to create any new view here, template, I can straight away see my view entity with parameters. Where is this? Custom entity. Maybe I need to restart the Eclipse. Yes, if I restart the Eclipse, it may be visible. That's fine. When we restart, then we will check that one. Okay, the adding template, that's fine. Now we are moving to the CDS view extensions now. So don't get confused. So we are not exactly in the way of developing our application at the moment. We are learning the concepts of the CDS, what all we can do. Finally, we will be moving to create our application using all these concepts. We will be using all the associations and some castings and aggregations and etc. And even currency conversion, whatever we are doing at the moment. So they all will be part of our application. So if we spend time on building that, it may take some time. Meanwhile, um, we must need to learn the concepts as well. So what are all things possible on CDSU? So for at the end of this, we will put all things together. So this app is not going to be built without knowing these concepts, whereas metadata extensions are important, very much important in building our application, where we need to let our Fiori layer to understand, whereas it can understand only if it has metadata extensions. So before metadata extensions, we will be needing all these ones. So let us go ahead and learn the uh, CDS view extensions at the moment, and followed by um, metadata extensions will come. Metadata extensions and access controls. These are the major things we have, and also MDP. Okay. So now, okay, when do we need the CDSU extensions? So whenever we see no fields available, or some of the calculated fields need to be there in the standard SAP delivered CDSUs, that point we will be creating an extension. So enhancement is part of all the development objects in SAP. So keeping that as a uh, as an enhancement approach. So there is an enhancement approach for CDS views as well. So that is view extensions. So these view extensions, when If we use this CDS defined view, then obviously we know that there will be a SQL view created against to it. And if there is an SQL view exist, and we might need to create an append view to that, and based on that append view, all the newly added fields will be added to it. But when we create an extension in CDS, even if we have SQL view, we do not need to really care about it, and we straight away go ahead and extend the standard view, and the CDS generator will generate the append view, and internally it assigns to this whatever the uh, corresponding DDL SQL view assigned to that particular view. And there is no limitation on creating extensions on this particular CDS use. We can create a number of CDS extensions, but they all need to be meaningful. Again, they all keeping the customer development standards in mind. So if there is any customer extension created, and some of the customers may prefer to use that extension and uh, add additional fields, but some of the customers ignoring that, each time they might um, go for a new CDS extension. Okay, so there are in-app extensions as well. So we are not yet into the in-app extensions, but we will see how we can extend a CDSU in the Eclipse using ADT. So let me pick up a CDSU for that. For example, what I can pick up. So whenever you do the extensions to standard views, then just uh, take a pause and think uh, about the number of tables or views being used in this one, because whenever we create an extension to this one, it will take a lot of time based on the uh, tables and associations, everything that has been um, created under this one, and also the ones which are using this I underscore customer CDSU again. Okay, so it's a real-time experience for me. Is it took almost 2.5 hours to activate one CDSU, and same time has taken to import a transport into the next environment. Okay, quality pre-prod and production, it took the same time to 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it is more cautious, and whenever we have such kind of situations, we must inform to the project manager or whoever, the architects and things like that. So this is gonna take this much time, but don't be hurry, and it will happen. So that's what the message we need to convey. Yes. So I do not want to include anything on this customer, but let me see if I can add something. Okay, NA1, and I'm not sure if all the fields are added onto this one. Mm, industry. Okay, all industry codes have been added. I thought of adding them 10 and the UMSA and this one. Okay, so this field has not been added. Whatever we see here is post box, plant, a report key for whatever it is, assignment hierarchy. These all fields are not added into the CDSU. So let us go ahead and try to add these fields from this table. Let me see some of the data of it. Free. Okay. Okay. And these ones, a tax number type STCD, STCD5, something. Let me see. Yeah, I think we have this STCD, CCD1, CD3. But let me see if we have any data with no blank values. We don't have anything here, but I don't think we will have any entries. Oh, okay. Mm, let me try to pick some other I company code. For company code searching, yes. Company code data definition, yes. I think I'm not sure. This is seems all of the fields have been added. PRST2. Nope, this field is not added here. PRST2 and PRST1 and also UINLN. Okay, so these fields here are not in the CDSU. Let us go ahead and enhance or extend our CDSU with those fields. PRST1, what is the rule for checking tags? PRST1. Okay, that's good. Yes.
So in this extend view,
Yep.
is it going to change the existing one, or it is copy and change in
No,
the
no copy, no copy. It's just going to add an enhancement to that existing CDSU.
Okay, when we call that existing
Yes,
CDSU, then
exactly. Yes, yes. It is like happened. Yes. Okay. So let me pick up this I underscore CDSU here. Uh, oh my goodness. Nobody nobody observed this. I was looking at country table and looking at currency here, company code here. Nobody told me this. All those fields are completely different, right? Um, FIKRS. Let me see that. Oh, XSKFN. XSKFN. Okay, ADR and now this must be exist, I think. Nope, ADR and NR does not exist, and FIKRS. Yeah, this exists. ADR and NR does not exist. BUVAR does not exist. Okay, we'll go ahead and add those two fields, and it will give us the exact error message as well if the field already exists. So this extensions must follow the names as EX, or sometimes customer use uh, X for extensions, CDS extensions, and also what level of extension is XI. That means interface view level extension, or if it is a consumption level, XC will be created for this. So we need to let the level of CDSU also by looking at the CDSU name. So in our case, it's going to be interface level view extension. So what is this? Company code. Company code extension. Extend company code. And in this list, for now, we will be choosing extend view here. Extend view entity, not extend view entity in this case, because this CDSU, whatever we are looking, that's not a view entity, that's a view. Okay, so let us go ahead and finish this one. So now we use this extend view. What is the view? I company code is the view, and we are extending with this name. And here, if you see, we must need to give the extension name as well here. The SQL append name. I'll name it as the XI company code. So in this one, we can include the field names, whatever we have decided here, ADRNR. Let's say ADRNR. If you press Control space, it will load the ADRNR. If you see, this ADRNR has been added automatically. Okay, and here we can specify the ADRNR alias name, address number. Okay, and there are some limitations on extending the views. So whenever we uh, extend the views, we are not supposed to create additional key fields. So additional key fields are not allowed, because this is an existing existing view with key fields. So we are not supposed to create any additional fields in the new extension. Okay, condition one. And if the enhancement of this one, come on, where is it? If there are any group by or union calls, union annotations, then they must be specified in the um, parent view here. ABAP catalog, where is this? ABAP catalog enhancement category. So this doesn't have enhancement category specified. So we won't be able to uh, enhance with union and group by keywords. Okay, view enhancement category. I don't see ABAP catalog view enhancement category here. Yeah, view enhancement category does not exist. So we won't be able to enhance, extend the view with the group by and union capabilities unless it is specified on its source view. Okay, and it's a always good idea to keep this name once we create it and activate it. Do not rename it. Anyway, we are not going to do that, and there will be a syntax error as well. And whatever the number of fields we want, we can add here, and also we can add the literal fields, so what we have discussed as empty field like this. So if we want any, these are the genuine requirements. Sometimes we might want the empty fields part of the CDSU. Then we will be coming here and we will add these character literals, and of course we will be specifying cast. Okay, whatever the type we want here, as we will be giving type here. Okay, and with that type, it's gonna create an empty field. Okay, what is this? Does not exist here. WERKS. Okay, with these types we will create and we will make use of these empty fields. So now let me go ahead and add another field here. What is this? txjcd 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 as, what is that one? txjcd txjcd jurisdiction of tax calculation jurisdiction. Okay, and if I add any existing field, so we know that this BUKRS is exist as company code, and we definitely get an error here. The name company code is not unique. And but if you want to name it differently, okay, my company code like this, we can do this. There is no restriction. So even the value is repeated, but you can uh, make it different alias name and you can publish it. Okay, so this is the simplest one. So I just activating it. it's gonna take a while, I think, because it's being used many places. That's fine. So meanwhile, we just move forward to our next topic, that access control. So this access control, we have some idea about access control while we are working on SAP programming. So each and every transaction code or program or any data service, whatever it is, so they need to be having capability of restricting some of the information which user is not authorized to. Okay, the same concept is applicable in CDSUs as well. So before accessing the data or sending the data as a result to the consumer, we should be able to filter out the data which the user is not authorized to. So to do that, we have a concept called access control CDS views. So using that access control CDS views, we can restrict the way, or as per business requirements, we can completely restrict the data is being shared to the consumer. So let me go ahead to data definition and create a new data definition. ZTHI underscore access control CDS, and this also needs the target CDS view on which um, we need to build the CDSU. But if you see, I have directly selected the data definition. I haven't got an option to choose the access control CDSU option. I'm just canceling it. I'm just going back to core data services and right click here and new. And here I get all the options, different types of core data services. This access control is not type of CDSU. It's type of core data services. I select access control and go here, and um, this one, let's put access control. So here the naming would be access for access control CDS use. So A, and also the letter, or at what level we are controlling this. And on this access control as well, we have some restrictions or exceptions applied. These are all the types of access control mechanisms which we can handle using CDSUs. If you see defined role with simple conditions, whereas we can simply apply the filter on fixed values here. So it's a simple select, and we will see that. But define role with PFCG role, PFCG aspect. So this is the template for PFCG role check. If we have a specific role, PFCG role, then we are um, happy to adopt that PFCG role and implement our access control on the CDS view. So define role with inheritance concept. So this, if we find some standard delivered or custom CDSU which already having the access control implemented on it, and going forward as well, we need to follow if there are any further changes happen on that particular one, then we inherit the uh, security or authorization control whatever has been applied on that particular CDSU, and we will implement the same on our present CDSU as an access control. And defined role with generic aspect, it's just generic as generic aspect of the role. So here we will have the um, a role in handy, and we will go ahead and put that role here. So, and again, this is a fixed value of this one. Whenever it meets some criteria will be bypassing it from there. So it's just again with the user element. So it just specifies that user element of it, and we can create different types of uh, this one. Okay, and if you see, these are all defined roles. Okay, but this defined generic aspect is creating the defined policy here. This is defined access policy. So we will see how they behave in our access controls. We will be trying, and if we publish OData as a OData service, how it behaves, and if it goes to UI5 application, how it behaves, and all these things we can simply experience them. So they are similar, but with the different templates. That's it. So the concept is the we can use the PFCZ role, and we can use CDS values and fixed values, and we can use inheritance. So these are the three concepts available here: PFCZ role, fixed values, and inheritance. If we remember these three, then that's it. All about access control. Okay. So let me go ahead with the simple condition first. So let me finish it. And here, what is the CDS entity I want to restrict? The CDS entity, if I want to pick it up, uh, so this one is still taking time and going for activation, it seems. Yeah, it is still activating. Let me go ahead with our custom one. This is with parameters. I don't want it. And okay, this point. So I'm picking up this one, this CDSU entity, whatever we have created. I'm going to restrict this one. So this is what my CDS entity that I wanted to restrict. And here entity element, what is uh, the entity element here? Let me restrict on from country. So from country is going to be EFR. Okay, or the element. That's fine. This is going to be the uh, user element. Let me first look at this one. Uh, it's not going to work because the activation in progress. We can't activate the other CDS view. Okay, so I think it's not going to come back quickly today. That's fine. We will take a pause today and we'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, thank you.